We got a few new wrestlers who are going to be leaving WWE very soon. Bobby Lashley and MVP's contracts are set to expire very soon. At first, it was truly shocking to see that WWE was not interested in bringing back Bobby Lashley. However, a new report from PW Insider did come out saying this: WWE made Bobby Lashley a contract offer, but it wasn't one that immediately made him jump to sign. Lashley has strongly considered seeing what he would be worth out on the market. This makes a lot of sense considering that WWE has been really using him too much. The company wouldn't want to offer him so much money if he's barely being used on the card, and for that I honestly gotta blame Triple H. It's been baffling to see how he's been using Lashley ever since taking over as the head of creative. Aside from having a very short US title reign in the year of 2022, nothing has been going on in his WWE career. Bobby Lashley was not booked for WrestleMania 39. However, it is fair to note that his match was supposed to be with Bray Wyatt, and that obviously was canceled because of Bray Wyatt's health at the time. But to not pivot for Bobby Lashley and just to have him win the Battle Royal on SmackDown and then come out with it for a few minutes at WrestleMania 39 was not a great move. It then looked like WWE had good plans for him when he formed his new group. A lot of us thought that it was going to be like the Hurt Business 2.0, but they completely flopped, and I completely blame Hunter on that as well. Booking Bobby Lashley and his group into a feud with Karrion Kross was a terrible idea. The story also went on way too long. The craziest thing is that Bobby Lashley was still getting great reactions despite having some poor booking. So yeah, it's a shame to see that WWE did not capitalize on the star power that Bobby Lashley does have. And to never give the Hurt Business a chance is a shame. I'm also guessing that WWE did not want to bring back MVP either because he's barely been on TV. PW Insider provided an update on MVP as well, reporting this: there had been some talk about potentially using MVP as a producer or an announcer, but nothing ever really came about in either role, although it was said that there was some sort of tryouts at some point. It sucks to hear that he didn't get the job as a producer. Not everyone is fit for every role or position. This does suck for Bobby and MVP. But with that said, there was one more thing that PW Insider included in their report, and it said this: internally, WWE expects Bobby Lashley and MVP to depart when their contracts expire, but one source pointed out that until those contracts expire, nothing is official and cautioned this is the WWE. There's always a chance that something could change. Like they said, never say never. Anything can happen in WWE. I'm hoping that Triple H notices the buzz around Bobby after hearing this news and decides to actually use him. They should change their mind. I really think he offers a lot, and it wouldn't be wise to let him just walk away. I think it would be even worse to let him walk to AEW to reform the Hurt Business, because that's what the Wrestling Observer Radio is reporting. They said this: the WWE is under the assumption that Bobby Lashley and MVP are gone and that they are going to try to revamp the Hurt Business. I don't know if they'll use the same name or not. I guess it depends on the ownership of that name. They want to get Shelton Benjamin, who's also a free agent, and revamp the group in AEW. Whether this happens or not, it depends on Tony Khan, but it's definitely something that is under consideration. I don't think it's a done deal or anything like that, but it's something that is alive. But as of right now, Bobby Lashley and MVP are both going to be gone from WWE when their contract expires, which is relatively soon. Things can get really interesting if Tony Khan can sign Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and MVP. We know the group worked well in 2020. We know there's a great desire to see it happen again. A lot of people want to see it. We also know that each member in that group also wants to reform, and they've wanted to for a long time now. I think this would work well for AEW. It's worth the risk in my opinion. The worst case scenario is that you'll have Bobby Lashley, who can be a great star in the main event scene or the mid card. If it doesn't happen, I expect Bobby Lashley to return to TNA. Let's see how this story unfolds. But with everything that I just said, I find it very odd how so many people are leaving WWE. We had Sasha Banks, who walked and never came back. I thought she was going to be a WWE for life. Speaking of WWE for lifers, Edge decided to not re-sign with them, and then he joined AEW. Daniel Bryan also jumped ships and is now Bryan Danielson. And more recently, Ricochet is expected to join AEW any minute now. Bobby Lashley and and MVP are two of the most recent names to have their contracts set to expire, and we don't even know where Becky Lynch is going to end up. Triple H's WWE is very weird because he's so focused on his long-term plans that it leaves out a lot of people with no immediate direction, and it can take very long to get an important role in WWE nowadays. In some cases, you could end up like Bobby, who had a terrible feud that took months to finish. Triple H's WWE definitely has its pros, but it also has its cons. Liv Morgan is someone who's experiencing all the pros in the Triple H era. She's in one of the hottest storylines in all of WWE. Along with that, she's also the Women's World Heavyweight Champion, and I'd say she's doing pretty well for herself. It looks like she credits all of her success to Triple H because this is what she said. Working with Triple H has been amazing. I grew up a huge fan, but I never thought that someone I'd idolize would one day be my boss, and I'd be under his guidance and tutelage. He's so helpful with any questions that I have or anything I'm thinking. He's always open to listen and help me out. I couldn't be more grateful for that. I walk into work so excited every single week to see what kind of shenanigans we're going to get into. It's a very happy, open, and creative atmosphere. This is exactly what I meant when I said there's some people who benefit greatly from Triple H taking over creative, while there's others like Bobby Lashley who sadly just don't. It's good to see Morgan in a spot where she can finally shine. I think she deserves this moment. More importantly, I think she's earned it. Sycho Sid also believes that Triple H can help him out as well. This is what he said about wanting a role in the WWE, as well as his desire to be in the Hall of Fame, which he had for a long time now. You'd think that they would offer that. Again, Vince McMahon didn't like me so much. I think that's why they haven't offered me that, but with Vince being gone now, you'd think that those people would say, hey, this guy, we still got him on contract, he's still making a little bit of money. It would help him if we did that. That might be something fun to start too. If you get back in, you might want to do something like a part-time deal, be a manager. I think that I was pretty good at interviews too. There's always a lot of people having a hard time with that. If I could teach them, maybe I could help them. I don't know about Sycho Sid being great in promos, but I do agree that he should be given an interview or a try for some sort of job in the WWE. He was in the business for over a decade, so he definitely has experience and a mind for this great sport. In other news, Logan Paul is currently the longest reigning US champion in WWE history. He's behind Dean Ambrose and MVP. It sucks that two of the three longest reigning US champions in WWE history have been such a disappointment. That title deserves a lot more respect. I don't even think WWE should ever give Logan Paul another title unless he's full-time or at least a part-timer who defends it every 6 weeks, because this is getting out of hand. And finally, here is Cody Rhodes talking about how every wrestler's goal should be to become a world champion.
This is going to be one of those, like, this is going to sound mean, and it's okay if people take it as mean. When I was at AEW, a lot of talent would tell me, you know, I'm not interested in being world champion. And I'd just say something polite, move on. In my mind, I wanted to be like, get the F out. You are useless. That sounds so mean, but like, this is a competitive industry. Yeah. Maybe not competitive in the ways you see it. Maybe it's not the physical competition that it's presented as. Maybe there's other areas, but you should want the most. At least that's how my mindset is.
You don't want to be the best.
Yeah, like you
no
want
one
to
goes to the Olympics and goes, I'd be okay with a bronze.
Yeah, so like I'm here, I'm good. You go, you play the game. I was that famous with Herm Edwards, but you play the game to win, you know, whatever it was. Yeah. And just I think I had to a degree gotten beaten down or beaten myself down to where I started to say things like, well, it's great money. Well, it's this and that. And that's just, you know, something's wrong when you start talking to yourself that way or talking to your friends. And I get it. Not everybody has a fairy tale ending. I get it. Sometimes hard times in life pivots and deviates. I totally understand that. But when it's self-deprecation, when you start to not be your biggest supporter, that's where you get in trouble.
I find it funny that he says that when he booked himself into never competing for the AEW world title. Regardless of that, though, I disagree with him. Not everyone is made for the world championship scene, and that is fine. You can contribute in many other ways. Santino Marella is a perfect example. He's someone who knew his role and will be remembered way more than someone like Jack Swagger, who won the world championship a couple of times. I think this is a bad hot take from Cody Rhodes, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below.